What's the South Bay?
Redondo Beach,
Oh.
Torrance, Manhattan Beach.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Yeah, Palos Verdes, Trump's Restaurant.
So you prefer that over where you live?
Yeah, I mean, I really do appreciate Carlsbad now. It's grown on me, but it's beautiful. You know, it's lovely, but South Bay is my favorite part of California.
And so when are you coming back?
Can you make it happen? Do you know something I don't?
So you miss it?
I miss it. I miss Bond. I miss being here.
Right.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Yeah. Amazing. You remember Mimi?
I was telling her I recognize her voice.
Oh, you recognize? Nice. Did you know she was back?
Well, I listened to the show. I wasn't here last week.
Oh.
I heard the whole, and then I saw her again. I'm like, she really is back. I confirmed it.
I was stunned when she walked in last Sunday.
No.
Yeah. Are we ready, Bill?
Just a second. We're streaming though. You are live, but you're just not getting.
Okay. Those seats are for you guys. Yeah. The first row seats are for the first row people. So I'm going to stand today.
Why are you standing today?
What?
Why are you standing today?
To get some exercise.
Oh, yeah?
To do something different.
Oh, okay, okay.
You know what I mean?
That makes sense.
Instead of always sitting.
Thing, man.
Yeah. Nick is a Jew.
What's going on? Were you even listening to that conversation earlier?
It just keeps coming.
I heard her ask
Oh, you
you.
heard it? Okay. I was thinking you said it like without hearing that conversation.
Rosh Hashanah.
Let me bring Shabbos.
That's what you get for having a statue of David there.
Behetele, Bismillah, Allah. No, we don't. Sorry, that's Muslim.
Yeah, I think so.
What did you say?
I was speaking Muslim, my bad.
Do you know Rosh
I
Hashanah?
was trying to pray in Hebrew. How's it going?
Isn't that what they say?
Rosh Hashanah is a holiday.
Oh, but when they see each other, they say something like that. Oh,
They say,
I was praying in Muslim.
So they say shalom.
Shalom.
Oh, yeah,
That's
shalom.
right, Shalom.
Shalom.
I should know this. I worked at a Jewish school.
Baruch atah Adonai.
See, shalom.
See, that's Spanish.
Oh, shalom. What does shalom mean? Shalom mean?
It's like a greeting, right?
It means peace be with you.
Oh, yeah.
Assalamu alaikum.
It's the
And-
same as that.
Oh, it's the same meaning.
I think so, right? Yeah.
Oh.
Shalom. Shalom. God be with you.
Now that they start, the president have gone over and got rid of the nuclear, what do you think about that?
You know, it's funny.
While we were waiting to get rolling.
The whole concept of agreeing and disagreeing could not be more perfect for that particular subject.
Oh, okay. So you did the homework,
Sort of.
the assignment this week.
Well, it's a 2-week that thing,
Yeah.
which I think it should be every week, personally.
We'll see today if every person did it. What do you think about that? He blew up the nuclear bomb.
You know, it's interesting because I've been having a difficult time not agreeing or disagreeing in general, but that's the one area where I exercise neither disagreeing nor agreeing.
Oh, yeah, you would choose this one.
But like
Yeah.
in the beginning stages, when people were turning against President Trump, I started to kind of lean into that and think, yeah, I'm not supposed to trust anyone. What if President Trump isn't all that I've built him up to be in my mind?
Good morning. Welcome to fellowship. I'm Jesse Lee Peterson. You can get involved by going to our YouTube chat line, and Hake will pass on your questions and comments to me. All right? Good morning, y'all. Amazing. How's everybody? Fine? Fine? No? Energy? No energy?
I'm on the punchy coffee. I got punchy.
Oh, no. You have Punchy's coffee?
Yes.
Well, you ready.
Yes.
Right on. Nice. So, before I get into the assignment from last week and the week before that, I want to mention something I realized. You know, I tell people all the time that they should overcome anger. That anger is evil, anger separates you from God. And yet, it's the most difficult thing that most people can and want to do. Most people tend to really want to hold on to their anger because they think that anger is good. They think that you need anger to protect yourself. You need a little anger, they say. And then they say that anger is human nature. And so what I've been doing recently in counseling and at work or anywhere, I've paid closely attention to people when they get angry. You ever paid attention to yourself or anyone when they got angry? Anybody ever done that? You've done that. And when you get angry, what do you see? There. Just walk around to it, you know, like. You don't want to have to pass it across like that if you could avoid it. What do you see when anger comes?
I don't know. I just get into this mode. I don't really see anything.
You just get into the mode?
Yeah.
And what mode is that?
It's like this mode where I'm suddenly like kind of amped up, and you know the thoughts telling me, okay, you get into this mode. You need to protect yourself. You need to be manly. Be aware. It's all deception. You know, it's all trying to mimic being right.
And do you, when other people are mad, when you're arguing with someone, what do you see in them? Or do you pay attention to that?
It's so interesting you say that because something happened yesterday. I was at the farmer's market and I was waiting for this parking spot and the lady pulled out. And instead of like turning her wheel and pulling out sideways, she pulled straight into where I was waiting. And then I'm just looking at her like, what are you doing? So she went back in, she came out of her car and came out and said, can you move a little, you know, like the little Karen voice, can you move a little bit, please? I'm trying to pull out. I'm like, okay, if you go back in and just turn your wheel this way and come all the way out, you'll make it out. So go try again. And she was like flabbergasted, like no one ever told her anything before. Like she was like, oh my God, like how did he just tell me? So she went back in her car, waited a minute, came back out and said, you can't tell people how to drive, blah, blah, blah. You shouldn't do that. And I was like, well, you should calm down and not get so offended. And then she said, F off, and drove off. And then after that, I got into that mode. You know, I was just like, all right, get on guard because people are evil. You're right. And stuff like that, you know, so.
That's a water bug.
That was a big one.
He liked this meeting. Well, go ahead.
But yeah, long story short, yeah, it just puts you in this mode. And then once I realized that I was in the mode, I started to kind of come out of it. I was like, stop, you're being angry. This is no good. Like, why, you know? Like, why? What's the point?
What I noticed about anger in people that I had not really noticed before, people get angry because they see anger as an identity. They really do see it as an identity, and they fight for that identity. They think that they feel anger, they got power, there's like a thrill in being angry. So it's another form of identity, and that's why they hold on to it. Because if you don't get angry, then who are you? What you gonna do if you don't have the spirit of anger to defend yourself, to identify with? And what I notice about angry people too, they go right into it. As soon as something hurt their feelings or whatever, which is ego, they go right into it, and you just fall into it. And then while they're into it, you can't tell them, even people that you're working with on anger, counsel with or whatever. You say, hey, don't get angry, calm down, look at yourself. They don't want to hear it then. They think you're trying to take away their identity. And so, and also one thing I noticed about anger, people that get angry, if you really pay attention to it, they get a thrill for being angry. You get a thrill from anger like you do with any kind of ego nature. You get a thrill from it. And another thing I noticed about angry people, they have to find other people to be angry with them. And they'll run and tell somebody, oh, they just yelled at me. And I can't believe they yelled at me. And as soon as the other person agrees with it, I can't either. Why would they yell at you? They feel satisfied because they built an army. They are built. An angry person cannot stand alone. They are building an army in order to feel good or to justify their anger. And it's all another thrill, and it's another form of identity. And when you read the Bible, especially when you read the New Testament, the one thing I noticed about Jesus, he said that, I remember once he was yelling at the scribes and the Pharisees. Remember those people? And those are the people that's supposed to be the leaders, right? Am I right about that? The Jew leaders and things like that. And he told them, he yelled at them one time and said, maybe more than one, you all dress up, you put on your fancy robes, you dress up and look good on the outside, but on the inside, you're not clean. You don't clean on the inside, you just clean on the outside. And I know that's how all human beings are until they really start to wake up. They do not clean on the inside. They'll dress up and look good on the outside, but inwardly they're dirty. They're evil. And then on the other hand, Jesus told the people, you don't have to be who you are anymore. You don't have to be who you are. Any longer do you have to be who you are. And I thought that was when I read that, it just made a whole lot of sense. You don't have to be who you are anymore. You don't have to be that way. You don't have to be that way. And you're that way because you want to be that way. You don't want to change because it's your form of identity. You don't have to be angry. You don't have to be jealous. You don't have to worry. You don't have to be lonely. You do not have to have fear. You do not have to move here and there looking for pleasure. The ego loves pleasure and is constantly on search for pleasure. I'm going to live here, and I'm going to live there, and I'm going to live in New York, I'm going to live in Texas. It's all for the pleasure. He said, you don't have to be that way anymore. There's a natural pleasure that you can have no matter where you are and what your situation is. There's a natural pleasure. And this pleasure that you seek on the outside, it never lasts. It dies down, and now you want more, so you got to do something else to get more. But you no longer have to be who you are, and you must die to social life. You got to die from this social life. You got to die from this outer life. There's no way around it. You got to take your cross all the way up to Calvary as Christ did, and then die from it. And then you got to be willing to let whatever happens to this false self, this ego nature, you can't defend it if you want to die from it. Otherwise, you're going to always defend a false self. You're going to always have a false life. It's insane to feel anything when people come in and out of your life. When you get married, if your husband or your wife decide one day, the day after the marriage or 20, 30, 40 years later, I don't want to be married to you anymore. I'm out of here. I'm leaving you. It's insane to cry over that or feel pain over that or feel lonely or fear from that. That's another thrill. You're using people to make yourself feel better to feel like something or someone. You're not supposed to be feeling that. If someone want to leave, whether it's friendship, whatever ship, you're supposed to be free enough to let people come and go in your life, come in and come out, and you expect nothing from them, you get no identity from them at all. And you gotta you will if you work on it. Not you gotta get it, but you will. You gotta let the world go to hell. Really. You gotta say the hell to the world, mean all everybody in the world. You gotta say the hell to your daddy, your mama, your wife, your adult children, your friends, your husband, your wife, your workers, co-workers. You can be so free that you can look at the people suffering in the world and feel nothing about it. Really feel nothing about it. As a matter of fact, if you feel something about other people suffering, then you're suffering. You're in hell with them, and you're like, oh, I feel so sorry. Oh, I heard that your daddy died. I'm so sad. I'm sorry about that. My prayers go out to you. Then you're in hell with them. It's enough to say, you know what? May his soul rest in peace. I wish you well, son. But you don't have to feel the pain with him. It's not doing them any good at all, but it's just a thrill for you. You will if you stay with him. You don't gotta. I keep saying gotta, because you can stay your hell. But and I promise you, I used to be emotional, so I know about this stuff. I used to cry and all that mess. But you gotta get to the point where you can hear another person suffering and not feel a thing or think a thing about it. Zero. And the only reason you feel it now because you're in hell with them. You're on an ego trip. You're emotional, and you're like, I feel so sorry for that person. Oh, my son or my daughter suffer. Your adult son or daughter. I feel so bad for them. Why? Why you feel bad for another person suffering? Because you're suffering. It makes you feel good to say that. But if you stay with this, you will get to a point where you hear other people's issues and you'll think or feel nothing about it. You won't, and I don't care who it is to you. And they're going to get mad at you for not feeling anything. You don't care. I don't see any emotion coming out of you. Well, you're a robot. They want you in hell with them. That's why they cry. That's why they tell you. That's why they act out. But Christ felt nothing for the people because he knew it wasn't them. When someone complains about their misery, they are not complaining. This is false identity that's complaining, that they have identified with. So when you agree with it, by feeling so bad, oh, I feel bad for you, you're agreeing with hell. You're agreeing with hell. That's why when anyone's crying, not just women, but when they're crying, they're lying. Because it's not happening to them. It's happening to the false self. This identity that people hold on to for dear life. You can overcome that. You really can overcome this false life. But you gotta stop whining when something happens. Don't get mad with someone when they want to leave you, or they say things about you, or they look at you the wrong way. If you feel the pain, just know you're not the pain. What gives you the right to feel sorry for anyone that's suffering? Think about that. I feel so bad for you. What gives you the right to feel that way? Isn't that amazing? Just think about that. Who are you that you should be feeling bad for someone else's suffering? They love their suffering, that's why they're into it. They love it, that's why they're telling you about it. They love it, that's why they hold on to it. They cry about it because they love the pain of it. Angry people are dangerous people. Really, I'm telling you. Human nature is evil. And anger, I'm telling you, you cannot trust an angry person. period. I don't care who it is. They will turn on you at the blinking of an eye. Because there's no love in it. It's just dark, evil spirits. And I don't care if it's your husband, your wife, or whomever it may be. And when you see it, when you wake up to it, though, you see the person like that, you won't judge them because you will understand that it's not them, that something else literally have a hold on them, just as it had a hold on you, or it may still, but you're overcoming it. But you watch out for them because you know you cannot trust human nature. You can't trust human nature, period. And so don't try to make yourself be this way, because you can say, I don't trust anyone. I don't care. And when you say it that way, you're lying. You're going to see not to be that way. You don't have to convince yourself to be that way, or you don't have to brag about it or tell someone, well, I don't care what people think about me. When you hear people say, well, I don't care what people think about me, they're lying. And they'll try to convince themselves and convince you that they don't care what people think. Because if you don't care, why you need to mention I don't care, right? And I'm saying all this because human nature, and I didn't know this until over the years, and then I started to wake up and I counsel with people, and you're going to start paying attention, not only to what's happening in you, but in the world too. But angry people see anger as an identity. And the Christians think that Jesus Christ had the same identity. They'll tell you Jesus was angry because he turned over a table. You can't turn over a table unless you're mad. You may say it, but they believe it. And they defend it because they want to hold on to their anger. They don't want to let it go. It's another form of identity. Who will I be if I don't have anger? Or if I don't feel good? Or if I don't have friends? Or if I don't get married? Oh, and the world started with our parents. The moment you pop out the womb, they start teaching you. Before you barely open your eyes, and then you finally get your eyes open. Oh, that's my daughter, my son, my daughter. You're going to get married. You're going to have some grandkids. They start telling you that right away. And you just popped out the womb. And they tell you, you got to get a good education. You got to live here. You got to live there. You got to have this kind of a job. Or you got to have that type of job. And then you got to buy a house. And then you got to get married. Then you got to have children. You got to have a certain kind of a job. And you grow up with that mentality and you never fit in. And you're always trying to fit in because your friend is a doctor and you are a nurse or gardener or whatever. And now you feel less than because you don't have the same job, you don't live in the same community, you don't have the same amount of money, you don't have this. And you start comparing yourself, and then you finally get what they have and you still cry at night. You still cry. And you got everything they had, you got everything, and the devil laugh at you. Your parents don't love you. They set you up to suffer in life by giving you something to live up to. You and me and no one should not, ought not, is not meant to live up to anything. There's nothing to become, and there's nothing to live up to. There's nothing to compare yourself to. There's no reason to be hurt if people come and go in and out of your life. Let them flow in and let them flow out. There's nothing to ever be mad about it. But you gotta let this identity go. Anger is a false identity. Really. Good feelings are false identity. To feel bad for someone because they're suffering is a false identity. I feel so bad for you. Don't ever tell you, do what you want, but next time somebody come to you and say, oh, I lost my cat. My dog got missing, and I'm just so lonely with missing. Or my dad died, my mother died. Never say, oh, I feel so bad for you. You're playing God, and it's a false identity. There's a way to say, oh, sorry to hear that, or something. I wish you well, without identifying with it. You don't want any more identities. You got to die. That's what Christ did. Christ died from identities. That's what the death was all about. He had to do it because the devil owned human beings. He owned everyone on earth at one time. And then Christ came and paid the debt, and now the devil no longer owns us. We are literally free, but you don't live as free men and women. You live as enslaved men and women because you identify with somebody or something all the time. All the time. You take ownership all the time. And the moment you feel like you own something, you got to defend it, just like you defend your anger. You defend your anger. You tell somebody, oh, you don't be angry. I can be angry. I have a right. Because that's their ownership. You get married. The moment you say, this is my wife, this is my husband, it's ownership, and now you're ready to fight for it. But if you never own it, you would never have to fight for it. If you never own this false nature, you would never have to fight for it. There would be nothing to fight for. Nothing at all. So I want to encourage you all out there and here, you got to die from this false, it's an illusion identity. It's not even real. It's not even you. You're frightened and mad and trying to defend something that's not, it's an illusion. Nobody loves you and you don't love nobody. You're lying. It's an illusion. Isn't that amazing? Any question about that? Stop defending anger. Anger is just another false identity. That's why people hold on to it and they fight over it. Yes, sir.
So I find, yeah, like I'm growing, like I see the thing where like, okay, this is not you, this thing you're talking about, but I'm finding that I'm like resenting it. Like I'm resenting that people are telling me about their weird, not real problems. And I think that's a bad thing to do.
It's the wrong thing to do for sure. Why do you resent them for telling you?
Well,
You don't have to listen to it. You're not obligated to listen to someone whining about their problems.
what I see, how you do it is so interesting to me because it's like you you don't care. Like you don't care about people, but you're able to handle people in the right way. And you handle everybody in this way that is so like perfect. And I see me trying to do that, but it's with like a resentment. And I can't even just say to somebody like, are you supposed to just say, I don't care about this? Because it's like I want to do that, but it feels resentful.
It feels resentful to say, I don't want to hear this?
To say I don't care. I want to say I don't care about this thing or you. And that's like...
And why can't you say that without feeling resentful about it?
I don't know. But I think that's what's happening inside.
Anyone else has that issue?
Yes.
Oh, good. And why do you? And then we'll come back to why do you? Tell me about it. Tell me.
I'm cracking up because I relate to that so much. Like people are telling me something and I'm like, I don't care.
And
Or
you tell them that?
no, but my response, I think, kind of guides them to, I nod my head, I go, And normally I'd be so invested when someone tells me something.
Right.
And I think people are so used to that reaction. So now I'm trying to navigate that too because I feel like I get resentful too when somebody tells me something because I'm just like, you're making this a bigger problem because you want attention and
Right.
I don't want to give it to you.
And so when they're telling you their issues,
Yes.
you're nodding your head, you say?
Yes.
Why do you nod your head? Nod your
To
head.
get
Why
them
don't you-
away from me, but I know that's
But
not
you're
the right
making them
thing.
thinking that you're
I know.
listening and going along with it.
Because I'm trying to learn like him, like how to navigate people to just not indulge in their sadness or whatever, you know.
Right.
But I also am so annoyed that they're taking my time that I just say yes, so they'll go away, kind of. But I'm like, why don't I have the patience to just? I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do. I'm not no guru, or I should tell them like your problems aren't real. I don't want to explain this all to them unless they're really important to me.
Right.
So how do I get them away from me or not indulge in that? And then also not have, you know, a judgmental attitude towards them, like you're making this all up because you want attention.
Oh, okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Interesting. I do.
Yeah.
I mean, Nick has the same issue.
I do.
Did you raise your hand?
I mean, I relate. Yeah, I do relate.
Oh, okay. And you get.
I've definitely been in a conversation with someone and they're telling me something I don't want to hear, or it's just I see what they're coming from and there's some deception or whatever, and so they've definitely been there.
Oh, okay. So they're telling you their problems or whatever, and you don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
Or you get resentful when they tell you, when they're telling you.
Mm-hmm.
And why do you get resentful?
Because somewhere earlier, I now know, somewhere in that moment, somewhere in that conversation, somewhere earlier, I didn't catch this moment. To summarize, the way I judged them. To summarize, it started. I see it now, and I'll be talking with somebody, and there's really no need to get frustrated. But some thought in my mind, I just start thinking about it, and it happened before what they even said that made me angry or whatever. It happened well before that, in fact, in my mind.
Okay.
And I know that. And it's funny, I've been in a conversation, and I have seen where you really don't need to nod like that. You don't need to do the whole thing. You really can do nothing. It's not that weird. And it gives them more of a hint than you think.
Yeah. Amazing.
They'll just keep talking. Your head just won't move. And you'll see the conversation die out.
And you can go, what the? Who don't get angry now when people complaining to you about things? Who don't get angry? You just raise your hand that you did. Now you raise your hand you don't. Are you messing around?
I'm not messing around. I initially raised my hand.
You do or you don't?
Because when I initially raised my hand, it wasn't to what you said. It was just to comment on the conversation. It looked like I was raising my hand to say that I get frustrated, like these two that raise their hands. You let me answer anyways, though, so.
So do you get angry or not?
No, I don't.
But you just explain why you do.
And that's also the explanation of why I don't.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Who don't get angry when people come to you complaining? Okay, and why not?
Because very recently I was at that point where I would complain about almost everything that I identified with. So I think when somebody comes to me, I just try to understand because I relate. In a very recent past, I related to them, and I can't understand in my own way why I would complain. Now I just try to be aware. So when somebody else is complaining, I try to understand them and relate to them in ways in my past, rather than try to be upset that they're complaining.
Amazing. And you say you don't get angry? And why not?
It was a big problem for me before.
Speak up a little bit.
It was a big problem for me before.
Okay.
'Cause someone I was very close to would complain a lot to me, and I would get really angry. So I had to just work on that for a minute, and it kind of fizzled down a little bit. So the moment I kind of stopped being angry at that person I was close to, other people I just kind of brush it off too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Amazing.
But I do wanted to say one more thing though.
Yes, yes.
For some reason, when I see conversations that are not directed towards me, I get angry. Does that make sense? Like when I see two people arguing about something, I'm like, like.
You get mad at them for arguing with each other?
Yeah, like on the internet, when I see people like saying stuff to each other, I'm like, I just start judging and I get angry. I don't know why.
Why?
I don't know. I don't. I guess I think I know better.
You
or
want to be
something.
a part of it or something? Or you think you know it better?
Yeah,
You're
I'm
better
judging
than them, you know.
Yeah, I'm saying like they're dumb. Like look at them.
That's why.
Yeah,
You're judging them.
it's terrible.
It is.
Yeah.
Oh, a mess. Why don't you get angry when people?
I don't see any reason to. Number one, I don't align with it. Number two, and I see it as a way of, especially now that I'm overcoming, I see it as someone is in their hell wanting to pull me into it with them.
Okay.
So I don't align with it.
Okay. I notice with angry people too, when they're angry at you, and you tell them, and they're going off and they're really loud and carrying on, and you say, why are you angry? I'm not angry. They'll deny that they're not angry. And then they'll say something that's not true. And then you say, well, that's not true. Oh, you just denying it. It is true. You just denying it. They cannot hear the truth about anything when they're angry. They don't believe they're angry. They believe you're angry. They believe you're disagreeing because you don't want to admit you're wrong. It's a dark mind. It is a dark mind. And you got to die from it. You really got to die from it. The reason I don't get angry anymore is because I can see that it's not them. I can hear on the radio, I can hear and see that it's not them. I know now that every human being on this earth is possessed by evil. And they don't know that that's what's going on. And that's why they're doing the things that they can do, they're doing. And I know it's not personal because they can't see that what's driving them. And so with understanding, you cannot get angry because you can't judge anyone. Understanding is the answer to everything. Above all things, get an understanding. It's the way out, and you will never judge. Did that help?
Yeah, I think I understand a little better now.
And what do you understand about it now?
That it's I am judging.
Yes.
Because it's I don't care. It's me. I'm involved with them.
Yep.
That's the problem. Yeah.
Absolutely. People literally, just like we all cannot help ourselves. We're either controlled by evil or good, right? They literally cannot help. When they attack you, you have the spirit of revenge or the spirit of gossip or whatever. It's just a spirit in them and it's driving them, but they have so identified with it, they think that it's them, and they're attacking you because they think that's them and they're trying to get some type of a sense of identity from it. It's another thrill. And so when you can see that about yourself, you'll start to see it in others and they can't touch you because you have understanding. And so you'll be able to help people that way too, if they want help. Most people don't want it. When you have an understanding of what's driving them, it's not them.
Does the understanding come from like your memories, like your past?
No.
Yeah.
That's a good question. Understanding comes from seeing.
Yeah.
When you can see what's going on with you, you become free. And so understanding comes from that. You can't overcome evil by thinking about the past or knowing the past. You overcome evil with understanding. Know thyself, and knowing that yourself is the light of God, and you understand with the light of God, you understand. That's where it comes from.
Okay.
Because Satan remind you of the past, which doesn't exist, but he remind you, and you trip out with the past because you believe that it's you. It's still real as you. But understand it solves everything. Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. Any question about that? Yes.
So like thinking you understand it is not the same, right? You don't ever think.
Thinking you understand it, you don't understand it.
Right. It just happens naturally.
I'm sorry?
It just happens like without even you knowing it, kind of, right?
You never think I understand things. Really. There's no thinking in higher thoughts. Now you wonder what is higher thoughts, right? What are higher thoughts? There's no thinking in God's world, in real reality, there's no thinking.
So how would you ever know that you're understanding something? Would you even know that?
You would know by not knowing that you know.
Okay. That's deep.
and true.
Yeah.
There is no thinking in God.
It's just so tough to think about not thinking ever again. You know, it's like, yeah.
Yeah.
I had one question about the silent prayer.
The problem with Adam and Eve is when they believe the lie, then they start thinking. Before that, they knew the Father, and the Father knew them without communication. But when they believed the lie that they could be God, because they now know the truth and the lie, they felt like they were God, and they started thinking, and that's what the problem became.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But you had a question.
Yeah, so on the topic of thinking, when you're doing the silent prayer, is there such thing as a practical thought that ever comes up? Is that true, or is that just another?
Well, Satan would tell you, oh, tomorrow you got to go and finish that house you're working on. Or you're not going to have time for this or that, but let that pass too.
Yeah.
You don't need to be thinking about the house while you're doing the silent prayer.
Got it.
He will use that against you.
Yeah.
Anything to get you to go unconscious.
Right.
All right.
Okay.
Just watch it.
Okay.
All right? Amazing. So you can be free. I promise you. For me to know this, and for me to even be having this conversation, you are smarter than I am. You can be free. You can be free, but you got to let everything go. You must die. I want to get into should we do the assignment or let's do the biblical questions. What was the biblical question, Mimi?
The biblical question was, what is the distance between you and Jesus?
And you say?
I couldn't really answer this question. I felt like I couldn't answer this question, but if in my mind, I said, well, let me give it a shot. And I said to myself, or the not me, who never was talking, said that if I was to relate it to a distance, I was thinking of proximity. And I'm thinking, just like my little brother, I would think of him as like an older brother. So the distance would be what the distance would be between siblings. That's all I got. This one was challenging because I didn't know what direction to start at.
Right.
Defining distance, I'm thinking, is it proximity? Is it relational? My mind just wasn't able to grab an understanding of this question.
And so did you do the week assignment?
Absolutely.
Do not agree or disagree with anyone. You did that?
I did.
And tell me about it.
So for anybody that knows, I'm recently coming back to California after trekking all the way over to Georgia and realizing just how many lies I had believed in order to get there. And so when I came back, one of the things that became very important to me was to start paying attention to myself. And I found that your assignments were incredibly important. So I just kind of made a commitment to making sure that I paid attention. And so long story short, I was very conscious of either agreeing or disagreeing, and what I realized is that I couldn't do it at all. There was a spirit in me that literally the one time I tried to do it, I looked like a mannequin with no expression and just like I had just frozen in time because there was this exchange with all the people that I had relationships with. There was this I give, you give, I give, you give, this back and forth. And I was always participating. But one of the things that also helped me to see was kind of a byproduct of this assignment was that I was so invested in everybody's stuff for whatever reason, you know, and that was that investment, like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for telling me all of these things that are happening to you. I mean, that's so valuable. So what I'm going to give you back is my response. And so I was so invested even to the point where I'm not even around this person and I'm thinking about them. I'm thinking about what they're going through.
Yeah. What a mess.
Yeah. So thank you for helping me to see.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Anybody else did the assignment? Oh, good. So I come over here. What was it like for you? Tell me what happened.
So basically, I
And
was
the
in
assignment was what?
don't disagree or agree with anyone.
Okay.
And I was basically realizing I wasn't judging people. And because I wasn't judging people, I was getting emotional about whatever they're going through or asking me. So it felt like kind of like doing the silent prayer, just observing it, but not getting involved with it. And just kind of like, being stoic, just like not putting your emotional into whatever they're asking me.
And so you went without agreeing or disagreeing?
Yeah, I said I don't know a lot this week. Like, and I could see it was kind of like people were like, why do you keep on saying that? Try to get an emotional response from me. And I just kind of dodged it because I was kind of like, didn't want to get emotionally involved with whatever they're asking.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. You did the assignment? Okay. And what was the assignment?
Don't agree or disagree.
Okay, tell me about it.
I think it was about 50-50.
50-50 what?
I mean, sometimes I still got caught up in my old ways,
Meaning what?
disagreeing or agreeing.
But you were supposed to not to agree
I
or
know.
disagree.
I
Oh,
did it 50% of the time.
you did what 50% of the time?
Not agree or disagree.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
And then, so there were times when you did not agree or disagree.
there were.
And what do you mean it worked?
I said there was. And I didn't say.
I'm sorry?
I think,
There were, not it worked.
yeah.
What?
He said there were, not it worked.
You asked me if I did it.
Oh, so 50-50, there was 50% of the time you did not agree nor disagree, right?
Yes,
Right. And what was that like for you when that was happening?
amazing.
In what way?
Well, I stayed out of the emotional cesspool that those things lead to,
Okay.
right? So it was a lot more peaceful. Especially now with what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
This is the time everybody's got an opinion.
Everyone has one right
Oh
now.
my goodness.
Yeah.
This could not have come at a better time.
And they want you to have one so they can fight with you.
Everybody's an expert too,
Yeah.
you know, including me. I think I'm an expert.
Right on.
I'm not exempt from that. But so
Amazing.
this could, like, for these conversations that really lead nowhere good, they end up with losing friends. You could even get fired from some of these. If not immediately.
Yeah,
like,
you can.
if not immediately, later, you could create enemies that you could stack up for later. You know what I mean? So,
Amazing. And so you went 50% of the time not agreeing or disagreeing.
yeah,
And you like that.
loved it.
And so why did you go back to agreeing the other 50% of the time?
Well, it's usually when I
Or
go
disagree.
unconscious.
Oh, I see.
So
Yeah.
I started doing a small, like, microdose silent prayer during the day.
Okay.
And I found that those times that I start to do that, I'm ready. So then here comes Joe Schmo with his take on the current political situation.
Right.
But I did my little silent prayer, and I just find a way out of it.
Okay.
Without offending, that's hard too, because at work, you can't just be like, put your hand up and go, I don't care, you bore me. That's too much.
Why can't you do that?
At work, it would just, you're now back in the mix with the drama. Doing
If you
that.
said, I don't care, I don't want to hear that,
There's better ways to handle that.
better than saying, I don't care, I don't want to hear it?
Of course.
What better way than that?
You can be slick. You can change the subject, or you can pretend you're getting a phone call, or you know? You don't always have to, like,
Saw like that man that pretended he was talking to the president,
right.
the governor, remember?
Yeah, that was he's good at that, yeah.
But, so what's wrong with this that I don't want to hear that? I don't care about that.
It depends. If you're talking to a friend that you have history with, you could probably do that.
Well, why can't you do it with a non-friend?
I mean, you probably could. It's not that you can't, but it's not optimal. There's better ways to handle it. I've found there's been times where I've
But
done
you
that.
say, pretend you're answering the phone,
Yeah.
pretending you're not hearing it. Is there a better way than saying, I don't care, I don't want to hear that?
Depends who you're talking to. If it's
Why?
somebody, it was
Why does
some-
it depend on whom you're speaking to?
I'm only talking about work. So if you're at work, let's just say somebody comes up and they get, some people are really attached to the thing they want to talk about with you.
Right.
So they come up to me and I just look at them and I go, I don't care. I don't want to talk about this, right?
Right.
That's going to turn into a bunch of other things.
Like-
Because they're going to do what you were talking about. They're going to go over to their other buddy. Can you believe he said this to me?
And you're concerned about that?
I'm not concerned. It's
You
just,
care about that?
I don't care.
Well, then why can't you say that then?
For-
I don't care, I'm not concerned, I don't want to hear this. Know that they're going to go and build an army. Why do you care about them building why are you concerned about them building an army?
I'm not so much concerned, but let's just say I can see there's traffic on this road, but I know a better route. There's
But
nothing
what
wrong.
better route is than the truth?
But the truth isn't for everybody. Not everybody can handle the truth.
But the truth is for you.
Fair enough, but
So you're not going to be the light just because everybody don't want it?
not at this moment because I've spent a lifetime of telling everybody the truth, and it's brought me nothing but drama.
I know, but you have not spent a lifetime telling the truth because
Oh, yeah.
you've not known the truth until recently. You've
Yeah,
spent a
oh,
lifetime with your opinion about things, your agreements and disagreements.
It's subtle because what you're talking about can be considered rude. So I'm trying to avoid rudeness or bluntness.
So how will you be free then if you avoid that? How will you die from it?
I'll let you know when I figure it out. But I'm not quite there yet because I like I said, if it's a friend of mine and they're like, they want to talk about like, you know what, give it a rest. And they're not going to be butthurt over that. They're going to eventually get over it and
And
maybe
so
not
do
even,
you love the friend more than the enemy?
it's not that I don't love the enemy. I look at them as NPCs. There are people in your work that really I don't have any opinion about, but I can see what they're bringing. And I'd like to avoid it.
I understand, I think, that you're saying that if you said to this person at work, I don't care about that, I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
And they're not a friend or one of
Yeah,
your
yeah.
whatever, right? And you're afraid of the consequence of them turning on you. Am I right?
I'm not afraid of it. I just already have experienced all that, and I'm looking for a different way. Now, I've set myself up for this, and I have to get myself out of this. If I show up on a new job with different people, I'll more than likely set a precedent of I'm not interested. Well, because I've spent a majority of the time of being interested, because I used to listen to people's problems as an exchange. Like, great, when you're done, I got a bunch for you too, right? And
Yeah.
so it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to all of a sudden flip the script on them. They're not going to understand that.
Why do they need to understand it? And why would you put off, if I get another job, or if this, why don't you live right now? Why
I'm
would
in
you
the-
put it
I'm
off?
in the process of transition. You know, I'll give you an example. So let's just say somebody makes you angry,
Right.
and rather than explain it to them, you just get quiet, right? That sometimes draws more attention than if you would have just said, okay, you pissed me off, I'm not going to talk to you today.
Right.
Do you see what I mean? It's
Because
almost like
you
you're
don't need to
pouting,
explain to them why you got angry.
but when you don't, then they just don't leave you alone. So there's ways to avoid this without getting into it. You can be, like I said, you can be a little more strategic than just, I'm not going to talk to you anymore, because it seems almost ridiculous. You can just back off and keep it sort of superficially social.
There is a time to speak and a time to be quiet, for sure.
Right.
But who agreed with him, the way he's dealing with this? You agree with it? And come with the mic. No, you hold on to it.
Okay.
And why do you agree with that?
Because I don't think that everything needs to, I do agree that not everybody can accept the truth. And then
Right.
like if you can avoid drama, then why wouldn't you just you can say the same message, but it doesn't need to be so direct. Like, I don't care what you're saying right now. It could be like,
You can,
that's
I don't want to
tough.
hear this. I
Yeah.
don't care about that.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that sounds tough. I'm kind of busy right now, so I'll catch up with you later. You know what I
And
mean?
why would you say it that way?
Because I don't want to engage anymore, so go away. I'm saying go away nicely. I don't care. Go away nicely. Versus, I don't care what you're saying. Go away.
No, I don't care about that. I don't want to hear.
Yeah, I don't care about that. I don't want to hear it. Like, especially at work, like I'm trying to keep, good relationships. So I'd rather just say it in a softer way, but the same message gets,
But you don't have a
across.
good relationship with her. That's why you tiptoeing.
I care about my money though. I'm not trying to, I don't care what.
We're
they
not
think
talking
that.
about your boss.
That's usually, that's who I interact with most though. So that's at least when it comes to work, that's how I would go about it. Just.
But he mean anyone at work, right?
No, there's people that I've known for a long enough time that I don't have that concern. But it's almost, if you're too direct, you're almost creating more trouble than it's worth.
But you're not being direct.
For them, that they would take it that way.
But why do you care about why are you concerned about them?
I'm not concerned about them, but I understand what the result's going to be.
And so why are you concerned about the result?
Because to some degree, if you
As long
want
as you're not going to lose your job, you're not talking to
you
your
could.
boss in that way.
You could. I've been in this particular field for a long time. I fully understand who and what I'm dealing with. It's a different dynamic than a lot of other forms of employment, and there's ways to go about it, and you can still get the same point across without doing that. That's not going to fly culturally. Just like certain things don't work that would work in another part of the world. There's a culture.
You have to be liked at work. Unfortunately, like you kind of like being
You have
liked.
to be liked?
Being
Yeah.
liked is almost more important than being smart or capable of doing your job. And I hate that, but that's the truth.
And
It
why
is the
is it that
truth.
you have to be
And
liked?
I play that game.
And that, I wouldn't take that too literal. We're not talking about a popularity contest, but the less attention you draw,
Yes.
the less drama you're involved in, you can be what they call diplomatic.
But when you say, I'm not interested in that, I don't want to hear that, aren't
That's
you
not-
being,
That's not as diplomatic as you might think. It's direct, it's true, it's great. I couldn't agree more, but it's not going to fly in every single environment, and it doesn't have to. If I could say the same thing in a gentler way, but still have the same sentiment, that could be more optimal. Because what you're doing is, it might even feel good. It might even be a thrill. Believe me, there's some people I would love to say, I don't care. As soon as they're walking towards me, before they even open their mouth, I just want to do this. Or hold up,
why don't you?
Because I've already done things that are jerkish.
Right, but that's not who you're overcoming that.
Once I actually overcome that, then
But-
I can do that
But
kind
how
of
are
thing.
you going to overcome it if you avoid doing it?
It's just about cards. I only have so many cards I can play. I've used up all my a-hole cards, so I can't just you see what I mean? There's no more wild ones coming my way.
It's so amazing. Amazing.
Yes.
I have a follow-up for that, but Mimi wants some input on that. Yes, on your hand. Go ahead.
Thank you, Jesse. I can relate to both that have contributed to this discussion. And I will tell you that I was in hell. And I used to say, when my next opportunity comes, I will set myself up for a proper engagement. The relationships will be in their right place. And so when I engage, I won't have to feel like I have to engage in a certain way. But I will say, and I know nothing other than myself, you living in hell when you can't express the truth. And what this reminded me of is when, Jesse, like you say, when boys were boys and men were men, I feel like these work environments now are so toxic and so just not about work. And people are coming to work to feel good about themselves. And that's not what work is about. And I think that that's why there's always these blurred lines in work, and everyone has all these opinions and hang-ups and rules, and you have these unspoken contracts, social contracts that you're engaging in. All it is at the end of the day is just a bunch of hell. And I think if anything I get from this, it's that truth is what starts closing the door on that hell. That's all I can say. That's what it sounded like. I've been in those situations. I completely understand. And when I really started to work on myself and make my way back to California, I realized the environments that I was in, somebody needed to tell the truth. Somebody did. And this experiment, this assignment, really, it's funny because you were saying I could tell my friend, but I can't tell the people at work. I'm the opposite. I can tell strangers all day long, look them right in the eye, and kind of help them understand, where we can meet. But my friendships, there are some friends that I could never. That's why I was saying that I just wasn't able to get this assignment done. But that's because there's like this feeling of death, like the death of this friendship, the death of this unspoken social contract that I signed in blood, and I just cannot go against it. I already agreed to this, who would I be if I went against what I already agreed to? And I think there's some agreements that are taking place in work environments that never should have been made agreements at all.
Okay. Yes.
She's completely right, but I want to add to it. We also have what they call HR now, and they make us watch these long, almost an hour long, and they have a special college-educated triple degree and God knows what that'll come and explain how the new way and how to conduct yourself. None of it is job-related. And so I'm in a transition. I'm an older person who's had a long period of time with a certain type of culture that's worked really well for me, and I've survived in this environment. But now my personality and my way of doing things is a thing of the past. So,
so you're saying you guys have been trained how to talk to one another, speak to one another.
Oh no, it didn't work
without hurting each other's feelings. But to recognize them, and if you don't, you run the risk. Excuse me. You run the risk of getting fired if you don't say it in a certain way.
Yes, more or less. But I have noticed the older people in the business, there's a variety of personalities. There are some very quiet, reserved, laid back, and they seem to have figured out a way to get to retirement. However, that was never me, and I'm struggling with it, and this place is probably the best thing that ever happened to me, considering the culture and the world is changing overnight. I'm now obsolete. I'm the dinosaur. I have no idea what these younger kids are thinking, or I just can't relate.
Right.
So,
okay. And you should be wise by that. Yeah, absolutely. If they're training you like that, and even one word can make you lose your job, it's not worth it because it's not going to help them anyway.
We had a guy.
So you should be wise.
We had a guy got fired for staring too long at somebody.
For staring?
Yeah. And he tried to explain, and I kind of saw that the second camera angle apparently in the meeting, he was literally going like this, and he was trying to remember something, but it looked like he was staring at this woman in a way, but he was like, doing that. I can't remember that
Trying to
kind of
figure
thing.
it out. Yeah.
And he tried to explain it, but he was an older man, and he was the wrong demographic, and they didn't want to hear it, and they just wanted it. And two of the other people that were witnesses were saying that that wasn't the situation, but they didn't want to hear it. And then they told the two people I spoke to, they said that HR was actively trying to coerce them to solidify this narrative.
Amazing.
So it is.
Oh, okay.
You see what I'm saying?
No wonder you guys are having such a rough time.
But what you're talking about agreeing, not agreeing, and disagreeing, all these things, this is fantastic. This is how you survive this.
Absolutely.
You know,
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an evil world out there, I know.
it really is.
It's
and
totally evil.
It's confusing because
And it's going to get worse.
that I believe
That's why you want to
wholeheartedly.
overcome it.
Yeah.
Overcome the world inside of you and outside of you.
Yes, especially me. This is the only one I can actually testify is everything you say.
Are you like really old? How old are you?
I'm not going to get into exactly, but
But you're not like so old that if you got fired, you can't find another job, right? Or are you that old?
I'm getting there. I'm closer to retirement than starting a new career
Oh,
by far.
okay.
But we're all going to do that. I mean, the technology's changing. I'm probably going to lose my job anyways because of that. Most of us are.
Because you don't know technology?
No, because AI is taking over a lot of industries.
Oh,
Already a few of my friends have become obsolete based on that alone, which is fine. That's not,
what a mess.
Yeah.
Because of time, let me get moving on.
yeah, sorry.
All right. So, I think I saw your hand, right? With the assignment?
Oh, yes.
What was the assignment?
To neither agree nor disagree.
And did you do that?
Well, in the beginning, I did watch myself with this, and in the beginning, no, I wasn't very effective at it because what I realized as I was watching myself is, well, the first thing is that as long as I can remember, I've been told and taught through parents and teachers and mentors that you should always nod in agreement, and your body language means so much
Yeah.
when you're interacting with someone. So that's at
What
the
a
forefront.
setup.
Yeah, we've been lied to about everything.
Yeah.
So that's been difficult for me to reject the notion of just sitting there and not showing any body language. But the one thing I did notice other than that is that a lot of times I agree or use this sort of body language so that the other person feels comfortable.
Yeah.
So I decided to, as I got further along in the assignment, to feel uncomfortable with disagreeing. So, or with neither disagreeing nor agreeing.
Nice.
So I just sat, and it was kind of like being seated in my hell, because it was so uncomfortable for me to just not express anything. But I ultimately did do it. But I'm obviously a work in
And
progress.
so you sat in the hell of not agreeing or disagreeing.
Yes.
Amazing. And the point to that is, even when you're agreeing with someone, or it's always about you. You say you're trying to make the person feel comfortable, and all that, but you're really trying to make yourself feel comfortable. And that's why when you didn't do it, you felt uncomfortable inside, because you avoided that before. Now you're facing it, you're overcoming it. Everything that we do, especially ego people, until you die from this, everything you do is about you. It's never about the other person, no matter what it is. It's never about someone else. It's always about self. But because you're not paying attention, you don't know it's about you. Your mind tells you it's about them. It's never about. You didn't want to feel uncomfortable, so you make them feel comfortable. Because you didn't want, I don't want them to feel embarrassed. Or I don't want them to feel bad because I'm not responding. I gotta agree. It's all about you feeling comfortable and not them.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
Yes.
Amazing.
But may I just ask a question?
Ask.
Related to what Ryan was saying. So for me, when I'm in a situation, especially in a professional environment, and someone says something that I disagree with, say they're talking about whatever it is what would be wrong, or what is your perspective on just using what we know to answer? For example, if the person is saying, Sally gets on my nerves, she's a micromanager. What would be wrong with saying, or I shouldn't say wrong, but what are your thoughts on just saying, have you spoken with Sally? Why don't you speak with Sally? What would be wrong with, like, why is it that, I guess maybe it's a question for Ryan, why is it that it's so deep, it's so complex with you just simply not saying, hey, get away from me, I don't want to talk about it? I don't think that that approach is the best, because in a work environment, we have to rely on people. So you don't want to burn bridges. So I understand that point. However, what would be wrong with just using what you know to answer? So how come?
Are you asking me that or him?
I'm asking him because I don't understand why it has to be so complex. I don't understand why, if someone comes to you with something that you disagree with, why you can't say, well, did you speak with Sally? Or, oh, well, that's not my experience, so I'm not,
It's
I
all
can't
that
help you,
HR
you know?
doesn't want him to say it that way.
No, that'd be fine. That's actually what I do. That's
Oh,
what I meant
yeah,
about
that's fine.
being a little different than.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's a better way to, what she's is giving a prime example of what I was
Right.
actually saying.
And that's not, you're not agreeing or disagreeing. When you say, well, have you spoken to this person about it? You're not agreeing with them or disagreeing with neither Sally or the person they're mad at. We
Right,
ask
but what
them
I'm
to go
saying
to
is,
them.
why is it this it just seems like, you know, I was listening to Ryan and then someone else chimed in. It's not I'm not judging it for sure, but
Oh, I
I'm
see.
just wanting to come to a place of understanding, like, we're here because we're overcoming. So you know, as we're overcoming, we're taking, at least, I can't speak for everyone in the room, but as I'm overcoming, when I find myself in certain situations, like, for example, with the whole, someone comes to you with information or they're gossiping or whatever it is, you know, my siblings and I have been indoctrinated from the beginning, never gossip, never do the he said and she said. So I would, you know, make up an excuse, look at my watch or say, oh my gosh, I have an appointment, I'll be right back, and never show up. But that's running away from the devil.
Right.
So why not just confront the devil? So now my approach is, yes, I'm not going to run away from it. I'm going to stand there, and I'm going to stand on the truth, absolute
But you're
truth.
afraid to do that, right?
No.
Well, what is it?
First thing I need to do is stop being the one that also does things like that. That's my primary focus right now.
Yeah.
I'm not so worried about
Right on.
this like it sounds like. I just want to stop being the person that somebody should tell I don't want to hear it to. Does that make sense?
You don't want to be the person to tell others that.
No, it's that I'm also working on not being the person that gossips or
Right.
is saying stupid things that
Right on.
don't matter. Once I can get that under control, I won't even be thinking about it. I'll naturally do what you're talking about.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense?
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, Frankie. Oh, were you done?
I think so.
Okay, yes, Frankie.
So I thought about the question this week, neither agree or disagree.
Yes.
And so I tried to see where it lands for me and who that is for me. And I heard somebody say,
Did you do the assignment?
I did.
Okay.
I did. And I had to make a lot of decisions, business, financial, and personal decisions are kind of tough. And I wonder, why is it I've got to agree or I've got to disagree. Why is it that painful for me? And I had to realize it kind of came a little bit from my mama. I've got some of that in me that when I make a decision, I got to have somebody like me. And so I pass off as kind of being a likable person instead of being a disagreeable person, because if I'm likable, then they'll like me. So I
Yeah.
want something from that. And so I learned that, you know, it's hard to do it the other way. It's hard for me to be disagreeable, difficult.
But you don't want to be disagreeable or agreeable. So you go along with so you can be light. And it's difficult to even disagree.
It's.
Oh, I see.
I heard somebody call it
I
like
see
this. They said that you have a personality. You're either agreeable, you know, a likable person, or disagreeable, like an
Right,
attorney
I
or
understand, yeah.
somebody that they have a disagreeable personality
Yeah.
because that's their trait. For me, and I don't like this about myself, the likable personality. I
You
gotta
don't
be
like
frank.
having a likable personality?
No. It's a weak personality. It's a weak personality.
Yeah.
It's a person that willing to pay and buy and manipulate and be not truthful with yourself.
What a mess,
It
huh?
doesn't work for you to be likable,
Yeah,
agreeable.
that's amazing. Amazing. Anybody else want to comment on the agree or disagree week this week? You did the assignment?
No, I haven't been here in a good minute, so I don't know what's going on.
Oh, okay. You had your hand about.
No, I just want to chime in on everyone having such a hard time telling people things. I'm in management at work, and it's no problem for me telling people the way it is. I think it's more offensive trying to be likable to people. I think people appreciate honesty. I think people appreciate more someone who's straightforward.
Is it possible for you to to disagree nor disagree with someone?
Yeah.
To agree or disagree, to do neither one.
Be neutral. Yeah.
Well,
that's
not
easy.
neutral, just don't agree nor disagree.
Yeah, you just hear them out and just shrug them off, because most people don't know what they're talking about half the time. So just
okay.
hear them out, and all right. My wife is like that too. So she
Your wife?
Yeah, she rambles on a lot, and just ignore her.
All right. Amazing. Yes. Did you do the assignment?
Yes, I did.
And what was the assignment?
Don't agree or disagree with anybody. But I failed half of the week.
Meaning what?
Because obviously you get caught up sometimes when you're not watching yourself. But I did notice that the less I agreed or disagreed with somebody, I didn't feel as drained, like energy-wise. And then, I don't know, I guess it came into perspective where it's like, if I either go for this side or this side, I have to expend energy to like show that I agree with this or disagree with this. And I caught myself, whenever I would catch myself, I felt I was in a better mood, at peace. I wasn't getting bothered by things, and I liked it. It was a lot better than having to attack this side or defend this side or say this, don't say this. It was just like, eh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but one of the things that I wanted to comment on what Ryan was saying, I think sometimes when I don't have an issue telling like, hey, shut up, I don't want to hear about it, and I would think that it would make people get away from me, and it does the opposite. Then like 20 people like, no, but you guys like, dude, all of you, go away, and it just goes to show that sometimes people just want to argue, and like I shrug them off all the time, like whatever, bye, leave me alone, I don't care, and but one of the things that I noticed, even through doing that, people sometimes still just want to bicker with you. And it's easier. It gets easier, obviously, because you just tell them off. But the whole agreeing and not disagreeing helped a lot this week to see where I expend a lot of, and you waste a lot of time arguing with people, too.
Oh, okay.
Yes, sir.
Amazing. Anybody else want to comment on? Yes.
So for the assignment of neither agreeing or disagreeing with anyone,
Yes.
I find myself, when I have conversations with people, I have not as much emotions, so there's no judgment there. And I find myself asking more questions than making statements, like an emotional statement.
Right.
So I think it was very helpful for me.
So that's what happened when you didn't agree or disagree?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So like yesterday, I had a conversation with my friend's dad, and we were talking about like the ice stuff, and then he's more on the left side. And instead of like me getting all emotional and trying to like state a case saying what I believe, I asked him more questions instead of ranting off and stuff like that.
Okay.
So, yes.
Amazing. Yes, sir.
I realized 3 things doing this assignment. The first one was whenever I was disagreeing or agreeing with somebody, it was just so I could feel safe, like the fake me or the ego.
Okay.
It just felt like I
Yeah.
was protecting something. I wanted to just feel like a safe feeling. The second thing I realized is, and I'm getting better at it, when you just stare at people with a blank face when they're talking, or when they're trying to get you to agree or disagree, most of the time they'll just, I don't want to say it's like a game, but it just kind of puts the pressure on them. They'll just end up looking at you kind of funny, and then they'll say, oh yeah, and that's it, and then they'll walk off. So nothing really happens when you just stare at people blankly.
Okay.
Doesn't matter the degree or anything, because what I do for work too is a lot of kind of like that HRE kind of thing. You got to kind of be careful. And what I do is I'm a chiropractor, so it's like a medical thing, you know. So they'll come in and they'll say all kind of things. They'll say, this hurts, that hurts, I've been going through this. And sometimes I'll just look at them blankly like, and then they'll say, all right, okay, fix me up or whatever, you know, like they'll just move on. Like nothing catastrophic happens. So that's what I noticed. So that was amazing. And then the third layer was, this question gets really deep. It's like, it gets much deeper because once you get over the human interaction, you start seeing that most of the agreeing and disagreeing goes on in your mind a lot. Even when you don't agree or disagree with someone, sometimes you'll do it in your mind. You know, like you'll agree with them in your mind, and if you don't catch it, you'll go along with it. So I realized that in the middle of the week that I'm just constantly agreeing and disagreeing with the devil all day. It's like, do I do this? Do I do that? Do I wear this? Do I wear that? Whatever, you know. So those are the three things I learned.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So the assignment, neither agree or disagree. I've been doing it mostly at work because I'm mostly working. I pretty much, I did it a little bit, but I failed most of the time. I was going around agreeing and disagreeing all over the place. But whenever I'm like aware of myself, oh shoot.
Pull out his legs. Pull out his legs. Pull out his legs. Bring the fan and plug. Hey Jesse,
Yeah.
can you hear me?
Yeah.
You okay?
I'm kind of fading it out or something. Okay, I'm fine.
Hold on.
Just sit up.
Just stay there. Just you good? I got your head. You can hear me?
Yeah.
Are you coming back? Just breathe in deep. You good?
Lay down. You want to sit up, Jesse?
You got water. You got water.
You got water.
Just sit there for a second. Breathe. Breathe.
Is that air better?
Yeah.
Is that air making you feel better?
Yeah. Okay, I'm
Sit
fine.
up. Just sit up. Just sit up.
I'm fine.
Stay there.
What the?
Stay there. Stay there. There's cold water right here. Just have some water. Breathe. Breathe.
attaching, and it was within seconds, and then you went down a little bit, and then you went down all the way. So there was a warning. You kind of like.
Felt it coming. Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
was aware it coming.
And what's interesting as a woman is the men immediately went in, and so I was like, no, like
You didn't
something
come to
just
help
said.
me?
Because there
You
was.
just sat there and screamed?
I didn't scream at all. No, I just.
Very covered. Yeah,
Yeah.
your team is amazing.
Right
Yeah,
on.
for
Thank you
sure.
guys. But I felt it coming on, but I thought, well, maybe it'll pass. I didn't think I would fall from it, pass out. But I felt sweat, I felt faint.
Do you feel the air conditioner?
I feel it now. Well, not as strong. That's why I put the fan here, because the lights are all bright and stuff. So, yeah, we'll get that taken care of. Yeah. What a mess!
Was that a test to get a reaction out of that?
I wish I failed without agreeing or disagreeing. And now it's all gone. That's crazy.
When too much blood leaves your head, you feel faint. It just happens to sports people more often.
It's weird though. I feel
Yeah.
like in front of y'all, right here on stage. That's crazy. Okay, I'm back. Yes, Raymond.
That's exactly the way I felt. Why I suffered from atrial fibrillation a few years ago.
You fell out like that?
I always felt my legs were giving out on me. I felt lightheaded. My legs were giving out on me.
Amazing. I can hardly believe that was real. I literally felt like he on the stage in front of y'all. What a mess. Oh, he caught me before I fell out? You were here that fast? Wow. Thank you, Anchorman. That's that Trump energy. Okay, let's wind out. Do you think it's possible to communicate without agreeing or disagreeing? Is that possible? Yes. You say yes? And why do you say yes?
Because whenever I was able to neither agree nor disagree, it was just through understanding. Like, I understood where the other person is coming from. So then, whenever I succeeded at the assignment, I find myself saying, I understand.
Yeah.
And then it was kind of an easy way out because I'll say, I understand. I'm not agreeing nor disagreeing, but the other person thinks that I'm agreeing with them because I said I understand. And then that was just it. But pretty much, if you truly understand where they're coming from, you could neither agree nor disagree.
Nice. The one thing I want y'all to know, and I'm not telling you to go to your job and do anything that's going to mess with your job, all right? But if you trust truth, truth's going to put the right word in your mouth to speak. It's going to speak through you. It will use your tongue to speak to the issue. And so you don't need to plan on just saying, oh, go away, I don't want to hear, right? The truth will speak for you, just like Satan speaks to you. Once you stop paying attention to that, going along with that, the truth will speak for you. And most people don't trust the truth, so they think, well, this is the AR department, or HR department and all that. They have trained me what to say and not to say. Yes, they do that, but when you're with the truth is not going to let HR or anyone else to defeat you. It will speak for you, but you got to not be afraid not to speak. And you don't have to say all that stuff that, may lose your job and all that. But I promise you, it will speak through you. And you will be able to deal with people without, I deal with people all the day on the radio. And I don't agree or disagree with them. But yet, I'm able to communicate with them without agreeing or disagreeing.
I like it when you sing songs to them.
Yeah.
I saw a guy call once, and he was just crying about his wife, which is probably easy to do if you let it get to you. And as he was just whining, he started singing like an old, it was like a Motown
Yeah.
love song. That was great.
Yeah. And that's how the truth will work through you. I'm telling you, when you let go and stop trusting the thought, the truth will take over and work through you in every situation. And it'll prevent you from losing your job. It won't give you crazy things to say that will cause you to lose your job. But we don't trust truth until we start to doubt the lie. Most people do not trust the truth. And that's the problem. We have been trained to agree and disagree. We've got to be going off saying something. We've been taught to be that way. But that's hell way of living. That's not heavenly. That's not God's way, the right way. The truth will guide you. It really will. Yes.
Jesse, so our employers, like, they feed us all of this intellect
Yeah.
about how to deal with our coworkers, and are you saying, like, all of this intellect causes the doubt which separates us from the truth, which is ultimately God? Like, so we're being fed all of this, and we don't, like, we kind of go unconscious, but every time the intellect gets involved, it causes doubt and separates us.
Right.
Okay.
Absolutely. Don't go, I don't care, I understand they teach you all this at work. And act like you're paying attention to it and don't go crazy. But trust truth and don't plan what you're going to say in any situation. And it will guide you. It will give you the words to say. It'll be the right word. You won't get fired. But you got to make sure you trust truth. And so don't be afraid. All right? One other thing I want to deal with, what is the distance between you and Jesus Christ? Anyone want to respond to that? Right here and here. Okay.
So I remember when I first started coming here and I would answer these biblical questions, I was so arrogant, just knowing I knew the answer.
Right.
And as time progressed, I realized I know nothing. I literally know nothing. So in answering this, I don't know whether this is true or not. However, for me, the distance, the way I'm looking at it, first of all, it's from a spiritual perspective. And when as you were just saying, and you took the words out of my mouth, when I am confronted with a situation like at work or wherever, where I need to confront something like with Ryan's situation that he was sharing, which was very helpful, I make sure that I'm in the present. I make sure that I'm in the present before I even respond, especially if I know it's something delicate.
Yes.
And I can attest to the fact that, yes, my words it isn't even me speaking any longer. But back to the biblical question.
The distance between you and Jesus Christ.
When I am in truth, when I am present, when I'm neither in the past or the future, I am one. I feel at one with Jesus. I feel it. I want that feeling 24/7. So badly. However, I'm still a work in progress, so I'm just trying to get to that point. But yeah, I feel 100% aligned with him when I'm present.
Okay. Did I see your hand? Did I see your hand? Oh, Raymond. What's the distance between you and Jesus Christ?
I could be wrong about this. I see the distance between myself and Jesus Christ is my ego. The more, whenever I have a problem or challenge, I always see it seems like my ego gets in the way of that relationship. It's only when I become still and see that ego is that the distance between myself and Jesus Christ is close, and I'm one with Him, and that anything I think, say, or do doesn't matter in front of Him.
Okay. Amazing. And the young lady in the white shirt, yeah. What's the distance between you and Jesus Christ?
I didn't come to a conclusion about it. I didn't give it a lot of thought either.
Oh, you didn't think about?
I didn't think about it too
Okay.
deeply, so I don't have an answer. It's instinct, my instinct wants to say that when my ego is at the forefront, that can create distance. But there's also something that says he's always been there. So I just really couldn't come up with
Oh,
a
okay.
definite answer.
Did I see your hand? Oh, okay. The distance between you and Jesus Christ is what?
A fall away. One fall away.
One what?
Fall, like falling.
One falling away?
Yeah, just one fall away.
Meaning what?
I just need to let go and fall into Jesus' arms.
Oh, okay.
That's about it.
Amazing.
Very romantic.
Yes, sir. And the young lady in the glasses after that want to respond. Yes.
It's interesting because my answer for the biblical question is it's one thought away.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Interesting.
So I just wanted to mention that.
Okay.
Yeah.
The young lady in the glasses. What's the distance between you and Jesus Christ?
My first thought was kind of like what she was saying, that there's no distance. It's kind of just an illusion we create. And I did see a comment that someone said repentance. But being here, I kind of came to the conclusion that for me, at least, it would be worldly things, because Jesus was in the world, but not of this world.
Right.
So, I do find myself sometimes partaking in worldly things, and, that does take me off the path.
Oh, okay. Amazing. Yes, Derek.
The distance.
What's the distance between you and Jesus Christ?
There is no distance. Jesus Christ is like the ark, and I'm like Noah in the ark. And while the world is being judged, I'm safely within the ark, which is Christ. So there's no distance. I'm just within.
Okay. Last word, and then the last word to you. Okay. What's the distance between you and Jesus Christ?
I think I'm starting to see what everyone else is saying. I was blind by this question. It was very hard for me to come up with.
Okay.
But again, I'm starting to be able to see through the light of others.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Last word. What's the distance between you and Jesus Christ?
There's no distance?
There's no distance?
No.
Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Is the ego the devil?
Yes.
So
The
there
ego is 100% the nature of evil, the nature of the devil. And that's why all human beings are evil until we overcome that old nature. That's why we're evil, because we have the spirit of evil. We have identified with it, and we are evil. That is the nature of evil.
is the nature of evil. So the phrase my ego, it would be like my devil?
Yes.
Do we have a devil?
Yes.
Okay.
Anyone that identified with him had made him their God.
Right, but he is of himself.
Yes.
Too.
Right, and you become one with him.
Correct.
Right.
But in overcoming, you realize that identifying with him is the problem.
Yes.
So-
it is the problem. Because you identify with a false self, you think you are the devil.
Right. So then the ego is not mine either.
I'm sorry?
So the ego is not mine either.
No, it's the nature that you
It's
have
the-
identified
yeah,
with.
it's the devil.
Right.
And the reason I say that is because I find that because you always say don't call that you. You know, when you see the anger or you see jealousy or you see whatever, you don't call it you, right? You know, I'm wondering whether my ego is also a misleading disguise of the devil.
That's why you're
the
supposed
phrase,
to not
my
call it
ego.
you,
Yeah.
so that you can stop identifying.
Yeah.
With it. Eventually, you won't have to say that's not me, but that's the reason to do it, so to remind yourself that it's not you.
Right, because when the word gets attached to it, it's like it's like I'm not responsible for that, which I'm not. Right?
Repeat that.
Because using the word "my" means identifying with it.
Yeah, you call it evil me.
Right.
I am this. And you made me mad. You're saying that you are evil.
Right.
That's mad.
I mean, I understand the devil exists, and that the devil, has disguised himself as the individual, me, right? So, I am trying to make sure that I'm not going along with playing the same game the devil is playing in my mind by saying my ego.
Right.
Because the ego is the devil.
Yes.
He's not mine, right?
He's not you.
He's not mine. He exists.
That's why God doesn't judge us, because God knows it's not us, that it's something in us, and we have identified with that. So it's not us that's committing the problem or doing the things that happen. We have identified with the spirit that works through us, and it's doing it. We just say it's us because we don't know it's us.
Yeah,
we don't know it's not us.
Yes, so
And then we judge others because we don't see yet that it's not them. It's the same spirit that's in you. That makes sense, everybody? That's so deep, huh?
Yeah.
It's like something in us make us do these things, and we think that it's us, and we call it us. You make me mad. I am lonely. I'm suicidal. I'm this. I'm depressed. You call it evil you. And so it's really not you. So when I say that the devil come through the woman, it's not even her. It's that spirit that made a home in her once she agreed with Satan. It made a home in her. So it's driving her. It's not even her. She is not evil, but the spirit in her is evil. It's not that she's evil. That makes sense? Yes, sir. Nice. Thank you. Amazing. So here is the distance. And the reason this question is so important, we have been taught that Jesus is far off somewhere. We've been taught that Jesus is God and he's untouchable. And dare you to think that Jesus is your brother, your sister. Dare you to think that somehow or another you're that close to him and he could be reachable, right? They don't want you to think that. They are made, and so we grow up thinking we are so far away from Jesus, and he is in us. He said what we own. He owned the Father that sent him is our Father and everything. But we have been taught not to believe that somehow or another he is so far off, and we can spend a lifetime just trying to find Jesus. And he's already there. And the only thing, I want you to really hear this, and you're going to come to know it. The only thing that, the distance between you and Jesus are thoughts, ideas, and belief. That's the only thing that separates you from Jesus. Thoughts, ideas, and belief. If you didn't have those things, you'd be one with Jesus, and you would know it. But thoughts and ideas and belief separate you and put a distance between you and Jesus in your mind. That's all this. That makes sense? Yes. That's why you got to overcome these thoughts and these ideas about who God is, who Jesus is, and who you are. You got to let that go. Let all these thoughts, your thoughts are screwed up. And then there's higher thinking, which is of God's thinking. You become one mind with God. But you got to overcome this lower thinking, which is the mind of Satan. You can have a clear mind. Thoughts and ideas and belief separate you from Jesus. That's the distance. The moment that ends, you're one with the Father. Any questions about that? Yes. Let me tell you, young man, it end here, and we got to end it. Yes.
I literally had this conversation the other day with my mom because she kept telling me,
Speak up a little bit.
I had a conversation with my mom, and she kept. I see the difference in between the way you teach versus everybody else.
Right.
Because she's Catholic, and one of the things that I see, they always preach that Christ was God or is God, like him and God are the same. And I told her, you know, I didn't do it to argue with her, but I just told her, I was like, well, as far as I know, he's our brother. That's why he came to Earth. And then I see the differences is that he was an example to follow now, like now. And I think that's why a lot of people hold him on a pedestal when in reality he's like the example that we can actually follow.
Right. He even tell you don't worship him.
Yeah.
Don't worship me. I'm not your king. And they make him a king.
Right.
And then they say, well, he said he was king, but that's what the people said about him. He never said that. But the people call him king around him. And then they read the book, because they wrote in the book, they call him king. And now the people believe that he's king. Isn't that amazing? Last word, quick word.
You've talked about being free and not knowing it.
Right.
So when you don't know it, that's when you're separate?
Yes, you're in a prison.
Right. But
But
you're
it-
free, though.
I'm sorry?
But you're free, though?
The real you is already, you're not in the prison. This is an illusion person's in the prison.
Yeah.
So once you come out the prison, you see that you were always free.
You're always-
You just saw yourself in a prison.
So in the truth of it, we are free.
I'm sorry?
In the reality, we're free.
Yes.
We just need to
In
stay
reality,
in the
you have
reality.
no problems at all. Zero problems. You have no problems. It's an illusion that you have problems. Isn't that amazing? It's so amazing, it's mind-blowing, and it's amazing that we are able to sit here and talk about this. Who is inside of us telling us that there's another way? Who has allowed us to see, wow, there is another way? The reality is telling us this. The truth is telling us there's another way. You gotta let your old way go. You wouldn't know, we can't sit here on our own and have this kind of conversation. We wouldn't know that there's another way if we didn't see it. We see it. And so it's the truth that is trying to draw us back to the Father so we can even fellowship together about somebody, a brand new person walk in this room and never heard this before, they'll think we're crazy. Really, they're like, what are you talking about? I am my thoughts. I am my feelings. I am this. And they would think something's wrong with us. But we're fortunate in that we know that there's something else, and the light has done that. And so you got, in closing, I want you to know Christ is the light. Christ is the light. Think about that. Christ is the light. Christ is the light. And the way you know that you're becoming closer to Christ is when you bring all your darkness unto the light. Then you know you're approaching Christ. When you bring all of your darkness to the light, then you know you're approaching Christ. And your darkness are your worries, your doubts, your fear, your loneliness, you're needy of people, places, and things. You're looking for love, your thoughts that you, whatever you think. Those are your darkness. And when you bring the darkness to the light, you'll know then that you're approaching Christ. You're becoming one with him. He said, bring it all to me, the light got it. Come unto the light, and you'll be fine. Any question about that? That makes sense? Yes.
How do you know when you're bringing the darkness to the light?
That's a good one. Oh, man, anybody want to respond? One response to that?
Oh,
Right
how
here.
do you know you're bringing the darkness to the light?
The young man that to you, how do you know when you're bringing your darkness to the light? That is a home run. When you know that, you're going to know you're approaching Christ. Yes, sir.
I think Jesse once said, when you can take all of your pain and misery and anger and you can just take it, that's when you know God.
100%. When this stuff come upon you, the fear, the doubt, the worry, the loneliness, the revenge, the jealousy, the strife, when it comes and you're aware of it and do nothing about it, you surrender to it, then you know you're approaching the light. That's how you know. Absolutely. Isn't that amazing? Any question about that? Mimi? That makes sense? Yes. Yeah. You bring all of your stuff when you give up. That's why you should rejoice, count it all joy when you're feeling pain, when you're feeling fear, when you're feeling loneliness, when you're feeling worry, when you're feeling jealousy, when you're feeling envy, when you're feeling revengeful, when you feel afraid of dying. That's what you bring unto him. And when you do nothing about it, let anything that want to happen to the ego, let it happen. And do nothing about it, you bring all your darkness to the light when you do nothing about it. That help? That make sense? Yes. So you got to let this stuff happen. You got to let yourself feel what you got to feel, and don't call it you. And you'll be fine. Bring it unto the light. Christ is the light. Bring your darkness to the light. Yes, all right? Yes, sir. I hope this helped. You got to work on it. Stay with it. I don't have a biblical question today, and hopefully tomorrow. Don't forget to do the silent prayer and work on you. You got to forgive your mother people. A lot of people don't want to admit they resent their mother and father until you can resent, because it's evil. Until you can admit that this is not going to work for you. You got to confess that you're evil first, all right? And do nothing about it, but just see it. We'll do the super chats and all that tomorrow. Stay with it, stay with it, stay with it. And then next Sunday I'll sit down so I don't fall. Bye. Thank you all. We had an amazing women forum on